Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 333rd episode of the Alfa Insurance Georgia Pep Sports Drive for the GHSA State Title. Today we've got two great guests, similar theme. They come from programs to the new position after leaving them in probably the best state they've ever been, but now they've moved on to Harrison and Coosa respectively. Then we'll talk basketball in the third segment, but while we have them on, let's jump straight to it. Harrison's new head coach, Luqman Salam. How's it going, Coach?
Yeah, let me.
Doing well. How are you?
Doing great. So thank you so much for coming on. We've been covering the coaching changes all season, all off season, and when that Harrison one opened, I said I thought that was probably the biggest opportunity out of some of these that are available, and I knew that you had to be a top candidate. So how appealing was that, just being a guy that's familiar with Cobb County, seeing that job open, and then being able to be Harrison's new head coach?
Okay.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity. Harrison has a wonderful community, very supportive community. They've got some legacies, some history, and so just being able to be here and be a part of that legacy is I find it to be pretty special.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, and they're going to have a challenging schedule. It's a program that's already won a state title before, but when I look at them heading into this season, it's pretty interesting because 2 years ago they started really slow, came on strong late in the season. Last year was just sort of the opposite. They had a really strong start. Things didn't work out at the end, so I feel like all the pieces are there. What are the expectations just year one at Harrison?
Well, for us, it's kind of just establishing our the wins and the losses are, they'll be what they are. But for me, it's to try to establish the culture,
I'll talk to Dave
create a standard, and begin to play to that standard. And I think once you do that, everything is in place and the result comes.
Yep, and then let's go back to Coach. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I want to go back to Osborne because obviously that was really exciting what you were able to do. And I guess the first question is, Osborne has a proud community around it. How exciting was it for people that have gone to the school just to see what the team was able to accomplish over your tenure?
It was a really special time. The big thing is not so much of the people in the past, but just the kids that were there. Just great kids, hardworking kids that really committed themselves to one another. We had a great locker room atmosphere. And so just being a part of that, and also being able to have some people from the past come and say, hey, I hadn't been to a game in 30 years, and I heard about what you guys are doing. And so I'm here today to kind of support the team. And that's special to just be a part of. But it was hard to leave Osborne. Great kids, great community, but I really enjoyed and cherished it.
Certainly, and now they have Coach Cook coming in. I'm sure that's going to be a great move as well, and you definitely left them in a better spot. But after you guys had that 5-5 season, I think what was so exciting about it is that was the best season you guys have had, and then you guys took that next step. So obviously having success during the 5-5 year in 2022 gave you guys momentum, but then you guys kind of knew what it would take, putting in the work to be able to take that even more difficult next step.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're talking about in terms of here at Harrison. It's just building blocks, just taking it one step at a time, trying to be better tomorrow than you were today, and then you let the results take care of themselves. And so that's really what we tried to do at Osborne. We focused on just improving every single day. Kids bought into that idea, and we were able to have some good things happen for us.
Yeah, certainly one of the more memorable aspects of the season, just Osborne having the opportunity to play for a region title late in the season, making the playoffs, having big wins over Kennesaw Mountain, all that. But what was the game that really stands out to you where you feel like you guys really made that noise and had the big signature win to let people know that you guys were heading in the right track and we're more than just relevant, we're playing at the top level, making the playoffs in 7A?
Well, I mean, I would point to the Kennesaw Mountain game just because time the county opponent in 20 plus years. So, and then also the year before we lost to Kennesaw Mountain in a big way. So come back here and be able to go and play a team that was 2 years removed from winning the region championship, and be able to beat them at their place was a really special moment for our kids and for our community, because it let us know and gave us some confirmation that what we've been doing is paying some dividends. So that was a special thing.
Yeah, yes, it was 35-3. That was the region opener. Proved you guys 6-0. Just absolutely incredible. But what have you learned as a head coach in terms of being a leader, but also knowing how to delegate certain roles just to keep things moving efficiently and being able to improve each day?
Well, I mean, I think that's essentially what you said is the job of any leader. To try to set an example. To be a servant leader first. The people that you work with have to know that you're there in their service and your foot is to the ground just as much as theirs are, and just to try to keep everyone focused on the same task. And I feel like if you do that, you're able to do that consistently. That always bodes well for your team.
And then how many Cobb County programs have you now been at now that you're at Harrison?
This is my fourth.
So I know McEachern was another one. What's the one I'm missing?
I was never at McEachern. I was at Hillgrove.
Okay.
And I was at Wheeler.
Hillgrove and Wheeler.
Started
Gotcha.
my career.
All right. And then what are your initial thoughts about the Harrison schedule this season, and then do you guys have any scrimmages prepared, and was that already in place before you got there, or were you able to pick and choose?
Well, in terms of the schedule, we're going into a new region. It's going to be a really fun schedule because it's almost, minus Paulding County, it's almost an entirely Cobb County region, which is kind of fun and kind of old school the way it used to be back in the day. So we're excited about playing that schedule. In terms of what we have in terms of scrimmages, we're going to scrimmage North Cobb this spring. Obviously, they are a perennial powerhouse program, so we're excited to be able to kind of line up against them and kind of see where we are going into the summer, to get a good barometer of what we need to do and where we need to improve. So we're excited.
And you accepted the job kind of within this spring semester, so I think things kind of get set in stone after this once you guys get to the summer. But how good a shape are you guys in overall in terms of the coaching staff, and do you see any potential changes moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to add some coaches. We're kind of in that process right now. But, in terms of the state of the union of Harrison, it's in a really good place. There's some good coaches, really good coaches that are here. Coach Cassidy and his staff did a tremendous job over the last 3 years of what they've done here at Harrison. So there's going to be some addition, but we're going to retain a lot of the staff. And what's not broken, we're not going to fix, and we're just going to try to do what we do and do that at a high level.
Yep, and then a big part of the success at Osborne was guys just naturally stepping up into the leadership role. That's obviously super important just to keep things high energy during the day-to-day and the grind. But what have you seen just with some of the kids you've met so far at Harrison, how hungry they are for a big 2024?
Very, very. This is a program that's been very similar to Osborne, or has just been improving year after year. And so, coming in, you see a class put in the work to kind of take those steps, and they're hungry to take the next step. So we want to make sure that we're doing all the necessary to do that.
Yep, and so you guys will be in the same region with, I guess, two of the teams that you've previously been at with Hillgrove, Osborne. So it's going to be an interesting season for you. What are you looking forward to most, though, just about this upcoming 2024?
Well, the same things you're always looking for. You're looking to create an atmosphere of brotherhood inside of your locker room, and that's a big focus for me. I worry about us and what we're doing and our process and how we're playing and how we're treating one another, because I think if you do that, you're going to have a positive experience. And so it's going to be fun to play all of the teams that we're playing on the schedule, not just the ones that were places where I've been. So, we're just looking forward to going out and playing and competing and having some fun and playing good football.
Yep, and Osborne wouldn't have had such an immediate jump if you guys didn't maximize the offseason. So what are the main goals this spring in terms of evaluation, just kind of installing and just getting to know your players?
Yeah, and I think that's the key. I'm trying to figure out where your deficiencies are, what you do well and what you don't do well, so you can focus on those things throughout the summer. And then, like I said before, just creating that culture, creating that standard of play, standard of effort, and standard of concentration and attention to detail that you want, so that you're ready to play at a high level when the fall comes. So that's really the focus this spring, is just to evaluate and to create some culture and know what you're doing going into the summertime.
And then last question, Coach, who do you guys open the season with?
We open the season with East Paulding.
Oh, that's going to be a great matchup. All right, so that's the big one. You guys get to put the Raiders on the bulletin board all season long. So what are your initial thoughts about that matchup?
Well, I haven't looked a ton into East Paulding and what they have. Like I said before, we're more focused on our process right now. But we know they're a good football team. We know they're a well-coached football team. And so we're excited to get a chance to see what we got.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Coach. I really appreciate it. Best of luck this offseason to the Hoyas, and we cannot wait to see you guys in 2024.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yep, you bet. All right, so there goes Coach Salam. So they're in a 8-team region. They'll have 3 non-region, and then it's going to get very competitive. You got Hillgrove, McEachern, Osborne, Paulding County, Pebblebrook, South Cobb, and Campbell. But I think that East Paulding one, that is a big test out the gates. Coach Hirschfield is doing phenomenal. East Paulding held its own against Douglas County and Hughes last season with a young team. I think they're going to be a very strong competitor this season. A great test for Harrison early on. I think East Paulding's comparable to any team they're going to face in region play. and it's going to be very exciting. Just a new head coach and a Harrison team that, as I mentioned, is a little bitter from last year because they started off, I think they were 6-0, and then finished, I think, 7-3, losing I think 3 of their last 4, and it was some close games, but they just need to put it together. Harrison's a great program. I think they're going to be very excited to get at it next season. But let's go ahead, take a quick break before we're joined by another new head coach, Geoff Cannon.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, does it matter if this leaks?
It don't matter to me, can't see it from my house.
Illegal use of hands, improper training.
GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com has 14 different highly skilled trades with tuition-free training in our certified apprenticeship programs to train you the right way. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
All right, welcome back. So let's start segment 2. We're going to be joined by Geoff Cannon, the new head coach at Coosa. Comes over from his most recent stint at Brantley County. And I think what's special about Coach Cannon is we both had the same high school football coach. He was at Walton, Ed Dudley's first year there. So that is awesome. So let's welcome on Coach Cannon right now. What's up, Coach? How's it going?
Hey, Craig. How are you? It's going great, man. How are you?
Doing well. So we just talked to Coach Salam. He went from Osborne to Harrison. We were talking about what he was able to accomplish at Osborne, leading them to historic success. And then I feel like the same thing's kind of true about Brantley County. When you went there, 2 playoff appearances in about 50 years, and then you guys were able to win, be competitive, and take that next step. So what was that time like at Brantley County, just your first head coaching job and being able to lead them to historic success?
Yeah, Craig, it was fantastic. It was a really great experience for me and my family. And, I just feel like the time that I spent there was just time well spent. Historically, program that just struggled to win football games. My job was to get the kids to believe that they could win. And I feel like that I was able to do that some. We were able to 3 out of 6 years. Still struggled to get that one, that playoff win or able to host or anything like that. But I really feel like my time at Brantley was good quality time down in South Georgia.
Yep, and I know you've been around at some other stops. So was that the first time you were coaching in Class 2A? Was that the lowest classification you had been at?
I lost you there, Craig. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I know you had been, I think, at Glen Academy. Cal was Brantley County Class 2A. Was that the lowest classification you've been at? Coach, can you hear me?
Sir, and we've just come down to just come down to Single A Division 1, which is where Coosa is. And then I did spend 4 years.
I think it's caught up now. We had a little delay, Coach. Hold on one sec. Let's try to get back. So he was talking about his family at Brantley County, and his son was the quarterback. So I think it was a good timing because his son was class of 2024. Helped lead them back-to-back 5-5 seasons. They were making the playoffs, I think, 3 out of 5 years he was there. His son graduates. Now he's able to go to Coosa. But I feel like going to a smaller school where you have less guys on the roster, that there are a lot of pros and cons to that. And so I think that's going to help him because it's a similar size, as he was pointing out, Brantley County to Coosa. And he can just tap right into what's already been established at Coosa. Hey, Coach, there was some connection problems. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just talking about being in Class 2A, now Class A Division I, what are some of the pros to having just a smaller roster than some of the previous stops you've been at?
Kids all the time, it takes 11. That's how many we need. We would love many more than that to have an effective practice and to have competition, to get the best players that meet the standard on the field. But again, my time at Kell and Allatoona and Glen Academy, when you got you were looking at anywhere from 80 to 100 kids, to where at Brantley and now at Coosa, you're operating anywhere from 50 to 60 or 65. It's unique. You certainly have to handle practice differently. But at any level, I've learned, especially in Georgia, in any classification, your best players are going to play, and so those are the guys that are going to be on the field, the ones that meet the standard. And you want to be able to develop their backup. Player development is very important. Getting their backup ready to play, those kinds of things matter. I do like the smaller, tight knit family atmosphere of a smaller roster. That is definitely an advantage. I get to know the kids better. Really get involved in their lives and build relationships with them. So that's definitely a plus.
Absolutely. And talk a little bit about what you saw last season while you were at Brantley County, playing the Pierce counties, and then that two-way state championship. In terms of just toughness and just how impressed I was with the talent in 2A, it blew me away just how much grit and just toughness those kids had this year.
Sure. So I think around game 8, maybe game 9, we had to play. We were at Appling County in Baxley for game 10, and they were I think currently number 1 or number 2 consensus in AA at the time, and so that meant that with them, Pierce County and Toombs County, we had 3 teams in our region that were in the top 5 in AA. You get all the way to the state championship where Rockmart, which is really close, it's 1 county south of where I am right now in Floyd, in Polk County where Rockmart is, and that crew that Coach Parsons had competing, which is a fantastic football game when they played Pierce County. You really got to see play of just what we had to experience week in and week out down in our little AA region down in South Georgia. So it was tough. Pierce County is about 20 minutes from Brantley County High School, and so technically they were our rival. But I got to tell you, for 6 years in a row, the lowest ranked they were was 6th in the state at any given time, and they won it that year too. So week in and week out, the competition that we saw was tough, which is why we were really proud of putting together back-to-back 5-5 seasons. And at Brantley, that's hard to do. So we were excited about the product we put on the field and the headway we made. And up here at Coosa, trying to instill some of the same things, and with some really talented athletes. I'm just very excited to be able to get to work with these guys.
Absolutely. And yeah, I just can't say enough how phenomenal that region was, and then the entire 2A playoffs. I thought it took the cake last year. It was just so exciting, and it's obviously going to be the same. But what about this move to Coosa? Was it something you had planned? I know moving's tough as a family, but was it because your son had just played out his varsity career at Brantley and just felt like a good time to move on?
Yeah, it was interesting. My oldest son, Kirkland, was a 3-year starter at quarterback for us at Brantley, but had tore his labrum at the end of his junior season, and we didn't know if he was going to be able to throw the ball any. And, he comes back, has a great week 1 experience, against Atkinson County, and, great numbers, great statistics, and ends up pulling his hamstring. So I had to put his little brother in, who was, a true freshman, and Charlie, my middle son, had to go. He ended up starting 5 and really he was a Thursday afternoon player that got an opportunity to play in 10 games in under the Friday night varsity lights. And again, he's playing against Pierce County and Appleton County and Toombs and Vidalia and just these really good teams. And so with Kirkland getting set to graduate, this business is pretty fluid, and my wife and I just felt like we'd been released, from Brantley, and an opportunity for me to look around a little bit. And I feel like the fit up here. Said I'm from the metro area. My wife went to Walton as well, and with having Coach Dudley being a part of my life and almost daily is still pretty big deal. And I'm almost 46 years old, so. The move back up here, we feel like it's a really good one for our family. Kirkland's probably going to go to college up, and Charlie is going to be a rising sophomore. Pretty excited about the things that he'll bring to what's already in place here at Coosa and whatnot. So we're pretty excited about the move.
And then I saw an earlier interview you gave, and I thought this was such a great point. You were talking about how when you were at Walton, it was your senior year, and that's when a young Coach Dudley came in, and how that is a challenge connecting with guys that only have 1 year left. Having a new coach, it's hard just to connect in 1 year, but how did that help you just be able to go into these new positions and use that experience being in that situation to now connect with these seniors and build meaningful relationships?
Sure, and it's one of the first things I said when I got here too. I've just to the rising seniors, they're current juniors, but to be able to look them in the eye and say, I've been sitting where you are currently sitting, and I don't have a better relationship with my own high school head coach than you could possibly have, in my opinion. And so just letting them know that that's possible, and that I did the same thing to that group at Brantley. And there's some of those kids, that we had over to the house for dinner before I moved up here to Rome to get started. So, kids I wanted to make sure I connected with are grown men now. And I just think it's important to relationships. But yeah, absolutely. I've sat in that seat. I understand the uncertainty. I know the feeling, and then the excitement of the newness too now. So I was make sure I told them exactly what Coach Dudley told me when I was a rising senior, was I'm not here to rebuild. We want to come in, add to what is here, and win. We want to win football games and be successful the best way we can. It's a lot of fun.
And mention your sons. I think you have 3 sons. Are they all quarterbacks? It seems like with a last name like Cannon, that might be destiny.
Man, so I was an offensive lineman, and so I can't really communicate very well with Kirkland and Charlie. The fact that they're both quarterbacks is just mind-boggling to me. I don't even, people ask us all the time, what's it like riding home from this, and what's it like at the dinner table? It's like, well, we're not talking about football, because I don't really understand, what it's to be that player. My name was never in the newspaper or anything like that. I never had to touch the ball unless it was on the ground and I had to fall on it. So those kinds of things are funny. My youngest son, Philip, is in the 7th grade. He's a big soccer kid. We can get him out here kicking soon when my whole family comes up to Rome.
Well, that'd be exciting. And then, I saw Kirkland's GPA. I know he's way over 4.0. You're, of course, former accountant, a math teacher. Are you still teaching math at Coosa?
When I got here, I think it's pretty important for the head football coach to be in the weight room. And so that's where I am now, and that's where I was at Brantley. But even this morning, I had a student that wanted to sit out of weight training because she had some algebra to do. So we got on the board and knocked out some Algebra 1 stuff just to make sure that I still had it and that she was going to be okay academically. And, those things are pretty important to me. Being a high guy, my children they're able to, to be able to be pretty book smart. So it's those common sense things that we got to worry about with them, I think.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So now that you're in the weight room, obviously when you're a math teacher, you're able to meet all sorts of kids around the hallways. But what's that opportunity like, just for you to be in there working with some of the athletes in the other sports, the girls, and just being able to connect with that Coosa community?
Yeah, extremely important. I think it's a pretty big deal. Coosa already has a great plan in place, great admin leadership that understand the importance of weight training for the overall athletic program. So I get to contact with just about every male and female athlete in the school is going to run through my class. And so to be able to connect with them, to recruiting your hallways is extremely important, especially at a school this size. And so getting to know the baseball only guys, getting to know the soccer guys and trying to develop and build relationships with them. Selfishly, I want them to come out and play football, but if it's okay, I'm going to be their biggest fan. I'm going to go to their games. We've got a baseball game tonight. Can't wait to go and cheer on some kids there and just continue to try to make the entire Coosa athletic program better.
Yep, and let's talk a little bit about this 2024 schedule. Is it going to be 8 region games, 2 non-region, or how does that shake out?
Yeah, I think there's 8 teams in our region, so we'll play 7 region games and 3 non-region football games.
Okay, and then who are you guys opening with in those non-region?
Yeah, so I think we're going to open with Southeast Whitfield. And then I know we're going to play model. We're going to end up playing all the Floyd County schools somehow or some way. We're going to scrimmage Pepperell. Our Murchie's in our region, and we are going to play model non-region. And then I believe we're playing Ridgeland non-region as well. So Southeast Whitfield, Ridgeland, and model are going to be our non-region football games.
Okay, so not that much travel for you guys this year. So that's got to be a luxury.
And it's Okay, so it's wild. So I'm coming from a place where you got a 2-hour or more one-way bus ride to play a region game. These guys are talking about 25 minutes on a bus. I'm loving that change for sure, and I know my wife is as well. Just to be able to be supportive and then go watch her kids play, that's pretty important.
Yep, and I always bring this up. I remember one year when Cartersville was in the same region as LaGrange and Troop, and I was just like, that's crazy. That is a far drive for a region game.
Yeah, that's insane.
So what do you like most, though, about the Coosa community, Floyd County up there in Rome? I mean, we've had a lot of events there. I think it's outstanding, and I mean, they're just really supportive of sports all around, whether it's the tennis, just all the events up there, baseball tournaments. Sure. You got Berry College. What do you like about it?
Yeah, well, Floyd County, a big appeal of this job for me, and I didn't mention it earlier, was Floyd County's commitment to facilities. Whether it's performing arts or athletics or just school building things, they've made an investment here. We've got a $2.6 million field house. They're putting the lockers in today. So we're weeks away from getting in there, and I couldn't be more excited about that. Their turf at the field, new track. There's just a lot of things that Floyd County's doing that's extremely important to me as a football coach, to show their commitment to overall athletic programs, which is great. And then, I know my wife is excited about paved roads. We live a mile down a long dirt road in Brantley, and so I think after 6 years, she's going to be pretty excited about driving on some asphalt for a while. I think that'll, and just about everybody I've met up here has invited us to church, and we just feel like that's just real open to people who aren't from Floyd County. We're from the metro area, not far, and then I'm coming from about 6 hours away. But everyone's just been real inviting and really friendly, inviting me and my family to church, and so we're excited about those things.
That's awesome. And then who were some of the guys
So I bet
on
you-
this
I know you do.
team
So our-
upcoming for 2024 that you've been able to build an early relationship with that you're excited to see help lead you guys this year?
Yeah, well, I think you got to start with a couple rising seniors. Harrison East will be a returning all-region linebacker. I'm pretty excited about what he's going to bring to the table. Jalen Warford is going to be another returning senior. They were under center, split back beer last year, and he was the quarterback, so he had a lot of decisions with the football. I'm excited about Marion Millsap and his younger brother Vanye Millsap. These are just all returning skill kids that I really feel like are going to, really make a difference for us. I've got a rising junior, Hagan Cawthon, who's in the 1,000-pound club. I got Jashawn Turner, who's a returning 1,000-yard rusher at running back. We're really junior and senior athlete heavy. I need to go find and build some more linemen. We have some, we just don't have a lot of depth. So I'm excited about the first 5 we're going to be able to throw out there. But after that, I need to really start building, some linemen. So that's really been my main job since I've been here, is just trying to figure out how we're going to do that and how they're going to fit into my system offensively. And I've got to fill out my staff. I'm still looking for a defense coordinator. I hope to wrap that up in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about that, just in the leadership role, which is real when you're a high school football coach. That is, of all the different career fields, you got to be that leader. But how you've learned the importance of delegation, and how are you able to use that, communicate, and be able to delegate things but still balance the leadership aspect?
Sure. Well, I think just simply, when it just comes to position coaching, I try to give as much autonomy as I can, especially to my coordinators, to own their side of the ball, for each position coach to be the head coach of their position. And I really wanted to treat it that way. I wanted to be driven and intrinsically motivated. It's my job to coach coaches too. And that'll be a big part of it. But when it comes to the CEO, 30,000 feet view of running a high school football program in Georgia, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and it's not a lot of X's and O's. It's just keeping up with paperwork and just things like that. And I think being organized is just the key to all of it in Georgia is organization. You've just got to be organized. You've got to be able to trust the guys around you and delegate tasks to them when they can, and just let them own it. And when there's issues and there's changes that need to be made with the way we do some things, and you've got a great idea, that's a great idea. You're in charge. Own it, run with it. Those kinds of things are important, especially in this day and age where titles and maybe thinking you should be in one role when you haven't had much experience. These kids getting a little impatient. And I remember I didn't call a varsity offensive play until year 11. That was a long time of putting in work and in freshman football and JV football and honing those skills to be able to get that opportunity. Nowadays these guys just want a year or two in and just think they should be this or think they should be that. Well, it's my job to show them what it's going to take to be successful and to mentor them and help them grow their career. I hope everybody on my staff wants to be a head coach one day. And it's my job to prepare them and mentor them and to launch them. It's a good problem to have, losing staff when they're getting promoted. But if they're just, if they're getting burned out and leaving the education and coaching fields, you got to take a long, hard look in the mirror and look at the adjustments you need to make the environment more appealing, but you got to have all the people in the boat, rowing the boat. It's not an easy job. If it was, everybody would do it. But we're up for the challenge here at Coosa, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And then you mentioned you guys did obviously have to move. Brantley County and Coosa are far apart. So when did you guys finally get to move? And then how many times over your coaching career have you had to do that?
Ooh, okay. I'm actually staying on Weiss Lake in Alabama, which is about 20 minutes from Coosa High School right now, at a friend's lake house. So we're very, very blessed to be able to have that. and for me to be able up here. My wife is still in the Hunter with our 4 kids. You know, Kirkland's going to graduate from Brantley. You know, Charlie's in the 9th grade playing baseball. You know, Philip is in 7th grade playing soccer. My little girl Ella, you know, is in the 1st grade. So they're going to come up when the school year's over and move. I'm thankful now that my wife's, you know, a realtor. She's in real estate and things of that nature. So hopefully there's some things that'll make it a little easier. But man, when I left Kell and came down to Glen Academy in Brunswick in 2005, we built a house on some family property down there and stayed there for 12 years. So I did 8 years. I did 8 years at Glen Academy and 4 at Frederica Academy on St. Simon's Island. And all that time I didn't have to move. But man, then we moved to Dallas when I was at Alatoona. I was there 6 months, got the head job at Brantley, came back down to Brunswick, lived with my mother-in-law for a little bit till my wife came down with my kids. You know, we found a place, moved there, and then we eventually ended up in Brantley County, which is where we wanted to be. And so we gonna have to. Man, I gotta tell you, there was a stretch for about 12 years where we didn't move at all, and then I feel like we've moved a bunch in the in the next 5 or 6. But golly, it's tough. It's a part of the job, though.
Yep, that's how it works. I mean, the changes come in the spring semester, and then you gotta wait until afterwards. I mean, we know how it is with spring practice. You got coaches coming from different schools, so things usually settle down or solidify in the summer. But it should be a fun and exciting 2024 for you. So thank you so much for coming on there, Coach Cannon. I really appreciate it. We can't wait to see you guys in 2024, and congratulations, and go Eagles.
Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it. Take care. Go Eagles.
You bet. All right, so there goes Coach Cannon. So 2 great guests to watch for this upcoming season. Going to be making their debuts, and they both have a great track record of success. There's a reason that these guys were some of the hottest coaches in these interview processes, and they both have ties to Cobb County programs as well, whether it's Kell, Hillgrove, and now Harrison. But let's go ahead. We'll take one more break. Let's close it out with some basketball news.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. Yes, you can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
All right, let's close things out with basketball. So last night we had the girls Elite 8, the Final Four set. We'll talk about that, and then I'll highlight some of the best boys matchups to watch for tonight. We'll have all that coverage at scoreatl.com, recaps of all the action and live scores. So last night on the girls' side, one of the closest games was North Paulding and Buford. They went into overtime. North Paulding was able to get a 74-69 victory. And this showed a lot of resolve because Buford had a game-tying shot heading into overtime. Usually that momentum carries over. They have Ava Watson, one of the hottest scorers in the state. However, they were able to get the win. It looks like junior power forward Ava Andrews got a hand on the ball with 1.5 seconds left, interrupting Watson's shot enough to secure the victory. The Cherokee girls, they moved on with a big win over Campbell. Campbell had just defeated Colquitt County. They also beat Marietta in the first round, and it looks like Cherokee will not host. The game's going to be at Georgia State, but it's going to be North Paulding and Cherokee. Then you got Grayson. They improved to 30-0. They cruised past Norcross, last year's state runner-up, 59-38. And then Lowndes defeated Milton, this on the girls' side, 60-50. So not any major upsets. I think the biggest win, though, was North Paulding. They're a great team, but knocking off Buford in overtime, that is a heartbreaker for the Wolves, but a huge win for North Paulding. All right, in 6A, we knew defense was going to be the name of the game with Marist and Pope. They won that one 57-29. Now Marist is going to play River Ridge. What a matchup. In the semifinals, you got River Ridge, one of the highest scoring, best teams in the state, regardless of classification, against a gritty Marist team that has had some big-time upsets in recent years. They knocked off a giant in that state championship 2 years ago against Luella with a half-court buzzer beater and then a steal and a buzzer beater. So never sleep on Marist. They're gritty. They have the will to win. But River Ridge is definitely playing outstanding, and they had a 64-46 win over Tift County. North Forsyth cruised past Woodward Academy. Now they're going to play Veterans after their 60-56 win over Hughes. In Class 5A, real quick, girls. Maynard Jackson advanced with an 80-55 win over Union Grove. Cartersville, the number 2 seed out of Region 7, defeated Harris County by 1 point, 47-46. The Canes were led by Taft Bradley's 18 points and 9 rebounds, and Ainsley Griffin with 10 points. KK Arnold scored 8 points and 7 rebounds. And then Sensei Carpenter, 7 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. They needed every one of them in that 1 point win. Dalton, who's the number 1 seed out of Region 7, Cartersville's region, they advanced past Arabia Mountain, and then Midtown dominated Jones County 58-37. Midtown looks really hot. They beat GAC in the Sweet 16 and then dominated Jones County. I think their matchup with Dalton will be a good one. In Class 4A, the Baldwin girls really showed they are the top team. Stockbridge had not lost within 4A all season long, but Baldwin 66-39. They're so good on both sides of the court, and they can just beat you in so many different ways. Now they're going to play Fayette County. They are very motivated after falling in the championship last year to the rival Griffin. On the other side, you have North Oconee. They beat Stars Mill. Stars Mill, of course, got that automatic bye to the Elite Eight after the incident between Spalding and Wayne. But North Oconee, the number 2 seed out of Region 8, 62-55 victory last night. And then Hardaway stunned Holy Innocents 59-53. And we have that recap right there. Michaela Johnson led the way for Hardaway with 21 points, and Kyla Shelton scored 18 of her own. She went 8 of 11 from the foul line. Janiyah Hardy, 15 points of her own. So Holy Innocents, the only game they had lost in 4A this year was to Baldwin. I thought we might see a Baldwin-Holy Innocents rematch, but Hardaway, number 1 seed out of Region 1, is now going to face North Oconee with a chance to go to the state championships. In Class 3A, Hebron Christian absolutely blew out Morgan County 75-28. They're going to face Monroe in the semifinals, and then on the other side, 2 powerhouses advance: Wesleyan over Cross Creek, and then Carver Columbus over Hart County 76-57. You got a absolutely loaded 3A Final Four. In Class 2A girls, Central Macon 44-37 win over Columbia. Central Macon's the number 1 seed out of Region 2. They're going to play Josie after Josie beat Banks County 65-48. On the other side of the bracket, Mount Perrin, the number 1 ranked team, they scored an 86-55 win over Dodge County on the road. And then Butler Murray County beat Butler on the road 52-49. So you got Murray County against Mount Perrin, and then Central Macon against Josie. You got 2 more girls, and we'll get into the boys matchups tonight. On the girls, Class A Division 1, let's start there. The Galloway Scots beat Swainsboro 70-61. They will play Raven County. Raven County beat Bryan County 71-45. Both blowouts on that side of the bracket. No surprise here. You got St. Francis advancing to the Final Four. Once again, they're going to play Athens Academy, and that was a 57-42 win by Athens Academy. And let's see, St. Francis is the number 1 seed out of Region 6. Galloway is the Region 6 number 2. So you could have the potential of a rematch in the state championships. All right, in Class A Division 2 on the girls' side, Green Forest Christian is going to face Taylor County. 2 teams that both won state championships the last 3 years. Then you're going to have Clinch County facing Montgomery County after a 65-57 win over Chattahoochee County by Clinch and a 69-54 win over Christian Heritage by Montgomery County. So I think the biggest result for me was Hardaway beating Holy Innocents. They obviously have something to say this season, and they're going to be riding a lot of momentum. Holy Innocents absolutely loaded. Made it to the Final Four last year. Got some transfers. Have looked unstoppable, but so has Hardaway. And they are now a tier above, I guess, Stockbridge too, which got blown out by Baldwin. So that could be the premier matchup and the only potential to stop Baldwin this year. All right, in 7A tonight, you're going to have Campbell at Wheeler. I think what's interesting about some of these teams that are in the Elite 8 on the boys' side is they're hovering around 500, including Campbell, but they were able to win the top seed in the region tournament. I think they're like 14-13 now, and they've had some big wins. They lost to Valdosta by a point last year in the first round. This past weekend, 75-49. They are red hot. Wheeler is going to have a distinct size advantage, though. They've been there, done that. They have the pedigree, but watch out for that matchup because Campbell is hot at the right time, and they are certainly playing their best. All right, McEachern is going to host Norcross. This might be the best X's and O's matchup you can find in the state tonight. You've got the well-known aspect of this game that you have to find a way, no matter what, to stop Ace Bailey. You have a Norcross team that's extremely well coached, but they're just going to have to get after it. They're going to have to press. They're going to have to do whatever they can to limit Ace Bailey. He's been going off for 30-plus points a game, hauling double-digit rebounds routinely. He's going to be the best player on the court, but it's going to take a total team effort, and Newton almost pulled it off in the last round. It was a 67-64 victory by McEachern. They had to claw their way back in that, and really, Ace Bailey, credit to him, put the team on his back like he has done so many times this season. Expected to be a close game, and that's going to favor McEachern because time and time again, Ace Bailey has proven that he can lead the team down the stretch, but don't count out Norcross. They could have a great game plan, and just watch out for that matchup. All right, Peachtree Ridge and Grayson should be another interesting matchup, Gwinnett, and then Milton and Pebblebrook. Pebblebrook, similar to Campbell, is a team that has barely been around 500 this year, but we saw what they did to Archer in the last round, 72-53. Let's look at 6A real quick. There were tons of upsets, some big-time matchups, and 6A, man, they've got some physical teams in this Elite 8. Hughes and Jonesboro, that is going to be a tremendous matchup. Jonesboro is coming off a big road win over St. Pius, 64-55. Hughes. They're coached by Rory Welch. They've played a gauntlet of a schedule. Just a great matchup right there. That could be a state title matchup. Obviously, both those programs have won state titles in the past. I think the team to watch in 6A is Riverwood, because they have quietly been just getting it done. They beat a phenomenal Lee County team in the first round, and then they piled on a 95-71 win over Evans. They played Woodstock, a team that is the number 1 seed, but this is the farthest they've ever been in the state tournament after their big win over South Paulding. But watch out for Riverwood. I think they could make some noise in 6A, and they can score at a very high rate. All right, Woodward Academy in Douglas County. It's going to be such a great matchup. I mentioned Woodward Academy is the team that ended Douglas County's perfect football season this past year. Douglas County is the number 4 seed. They beat Pope in overtime, and they're going to give 110% effort in this game. They're going to make it absolute hell for Woodward Academy. I think they can grind out a victory, but Woodward is an outstanding team. It's going to be at Woodward. What a matchup. And then Grovetown and Alexander. Alexander's the number 1 ranked team, the defending champs, and they're going to try to punch their ticket to the Final Four. So 6A, another classification with great matchups. In 5A, real quick, Eagles Landing and Tri-Cities. Both of those teams have been surviving some really close matchups. Now it's all going to be on the line. I think that's a great test for both, but Eagles Landing, their athleticism impresses me. I think they might have the most talent Tri-Cities has faced so far. You're going to have Tucker and Maynard Jackson. Great matchup right there. Windeboro, they advanced last night with a 2-point win over Warner Robins, and then Kell advanced with a 60-46 win over Dutchtown. Kell, the defending 5A champs. Let's look at 4A real quick. Had the most upsets in the last round. But then tonight, Westminster, after beating number 1 ranked McDonough, they're going to go to Baldwin. Baldwin has beaten Southeast Bolick and Riverdale, but they have played a difficult schedule all season long, and so they're going to be another tough test. Westminster is going to have to find unique ways to win the matchup. Baldwin has the edge athletically, but I think you can't count Westminster out. And the big stat, I mentioned that Westminster outscored McDonough 18-3 in the fourth quarter to win that matchup in the second round. It was a 58-50 win. Apparently McDonough did not score a single point the final 7 minutes of that game. I heard that, so that's just unbelievable. If Westminster keeps it close, they can beat you. Technically, they can get to the foul line and steal another victory. All right, New Hampstead and North Oconee. Historic matchup for both programs. They've never been this far. Both region champs. I think this is North Oconee's year, though. You look at the playoff picture in 4A, I think they have what it takes to take it all this year and establish themselves. They're a program on the rise. Seconder and Benedictine, another matchup, and then Holy Innocents against Whitewater. It'll be at Holy Innocents, just one round after Holy Innocents was able to take down the defending state champs, Pace Academy. We'll close out with 3A, and then we'll wrap up. But Monroe against Sandy Creek. Sandy Creek's the defending champs. You're going to have Carver, Columbus, and Hart County. Hebron Christian is going to have to go to Johnson, Savannah. Big-time matchup. And then Douglas, Atlanta against Doherty. Two of the most talented rosters in Class 3A squaring off. So plenty of great boys games tonight. We'll have it all at scoreatl.com. Please check it out. And we'll see you tomorrow for Keeping It Real with Najee Wilkins at 2 o'clock. Don't miss it. Hope everyone has a good one. Peace.
Hey, Pat, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, it's a little bit crazy. How about you?
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. Yes, you can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.